Hello, it's Adrian here. Today's podcast is something a little bit unusual for us. We're going to be getting Paul Adams's insights into our contract manufacturing facility, Agilian Technology, which is part of the Sofeast Group. So what are we doing there? What kinds of equipment do we have? And what kinds of processes do we provide? And how does this stack up against other Chinese manufacturers or suppliers of the different kinds of things that you're going to want to be doing in China when you're outsourcing your production, your logistics? Could be lots of different things. So how does it stack up with those? And he's also going to give some insights into the kinds of questions that customers commonly ask us. So are you asking those questions of your supplier? What kinds of answers are they giving? So a very insightful podcast, and going into a bit more detail about one of the integral parts of our group, which will help you have a little bit more information when you're doing your own sourcing too. Okay, let's get into it. You're listening to China Manufacturing Decoded from the Sofeast Group. So, Paul, you're based generally in Agilian, which is our contract manufacturing subsidiary. Although we do so much stuff at Agilian in South China that it's almost just saying it's a contract manufacturer it's not enough. And I think you'll be touching on a bit of that in this particular episode. So I mentioned you're going to share some insights based on your time in our own factory, our own contract manufacturing facility, right? So what's the first one?
Well, one of the things that struck me, I spend a lot of time in the factory, spent a little bit of time out of the factory, and in between the visits, and it's good to see it like this, is the amount of change that is going on at Agilian itself. And one of the things that strikes you between visits, I know you've been there several months ago, and you're due to go there several months' time. It's going to be a big difference. And one of the things that Agilian are looking at is the vertical integration, bringing some of these capabilities and features that we just spoke about. The manufacturing processes, we're trying to bring that in-house such that we can offer a greater capability under one roof. Okay. Yeah. Now, for example, injection mold tools. Very, very simple. We talked about forming, and injection molding is one of those things that is right at the top of the list when it comes to consumer electronics, which is the majority of the products you can see around you today is a consumer electronics. I've got a speaker in front of me. I've got a phone in front of me. I've got, I've got chargers. I've got all sorts. A lot of that, or most of it, in fact, everything has some plastic injection molding cover or case or part to it. Yep. So, being able to actually control and produce and manufacture our own injection mold tools was a key element and our first step to vertical integration with respect to bringing some of that capability in-house. For example, if you go around the plant now, we have our own CNC machining centers. We've got grinders. We've got EMD machines, which is a key component when it comes to, or a key machine when it comes to sort of tooling. We've got mills, drills, we've got inspection equipment, all of the standard stuff and more. We talked about CNC machining centers. We've now brought all of that capability in-house. And in fact, that comes under the Agilian Plastic Mold brand, which is still part of the Agilian. But on top of that, not just bringing in the mold tools itself, we thought, okay, don't stop there. Why don't we actually integrate the molding capability as well? So we started off with one injection mold tool and two injection mold. Now, currently we're standing at 4 injection mold tools or machines, ranging from 90 tons up to I believe it's a 220 ton machine. And that gives us the flexibility and capability of running all of the tools that we're producing and producing all of the components for all of our customers' projects. So this is great. But in that facility itself, we had a number of projects that were requiring silicon components. Now, silicon injection molding is a very complex thing, and it's something that we didn't have the requirement for, but we did have the requirement for compression molding. Now, I know that this is something that we covered in a previous podcast, Adrian, because I remember speaking about it, but we do have that capability of producing our own compression, silicon compression mold tools. And we've got a dual press, I believe that goes up to 250 tons as well. So we've got that capability in-house. And not only on top of that, because we've got the machining centers and we've got the machine shop, and we've also got the skill set in-house, we've now started to produce die-cast tools, so high-pressure die-cast tooling. So if anybody's looking for any of those requirements, we have that under one roof now. And this is part of the Agilian vertical integration plan, so we're building and growing. And it's the growth that surprises you. And it surprises a lot of the customers, which I'll talk about at the end, Adrian, if that's all right, if I've got time. Mm-hmm. When I take customers around the plant, they say, wow, I can't believe you can do so much, or I can achieve so much in one place for my project. And this is all part of the sort of long-term strategy and the plan for the business.
You've got to really go to see the scale of it. I mean, we do welcome our customers to come and visit, and you just, even seeing the website, we try and get, videos and photos up, but you need to physically be there to understand the scale of what's there.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and it's the number of people we've got in the facility now as well. Yeah, it's gone from like 20 people, 100 people, 200 people. We're growing virtually on every week. I see a new person's joined. Welcome this person to the company.
That's true.
Which is good. And another area that we had a look at is the electronics, and from an SMT line. We talked about the SMT earlier. Then this is the assembly of PCBs. Okay. And one of the things that we really, really need in our business from a prototyping point of view is fast turnaround PCBs from a testing aspect. And previously, we got very, very good relationship with one of the suppliers we work with, and we worked with them for a long time. But it's, can we squeeze in an order for another 10 or another 2 or another 3 or 5? Not a problem. And they were very, very capable and willing to do that. But to actually have control of that and manage that ourselves and actually fit it in whenever we want, if we want to, we need some on Monday. All right, no problems. I'll come in on Saturday and I'll run it. No problems. It's all good. So we've now got our own, let's say, prototype to low production run SMT line. Now, what this consists of is a manual solder paste station. We have a high-speed pick-and-place machine, which is the SMT machine, and we've got a small reflow oven. Okay, so we've got everything we need in order to produce a blank PCB into a functional PCB. And I talked about inspection. We do have our own high focus digital microscope for inspecting part placement, so which is really good. And this allows us to turn around design iterations, design changes very, very quickly, without bothering or hassling a large organization where they're putting through thousands at a time, and then we need to squeeze 5 in for our prototypes. So, and again, we've got this line set up, and more than happy to come and have a look at it and utilize that in any of the customer visits that we have. So, which is great. Now, another one that we have actually got, and this is like, whoa, really? Sewing. Yes, you heard it right, T. Sewing. Now, we've been sewing for a long time, okay? But we've had, 2 or 3 machines in the R&D lab, and, it's basically been for testing and prototypes and, just making sure that we've got a validated design before it gets pushed out to somebody else. Well, we thought it was about time we actually stepped up the game. So we've now got our own, for lack of a better term, I don't know the terminology when it comes to sewing, but we've got our own sewing room. Okay. And not only that, we have a large bed CNC sewing machine. When I'm talking about large bed, we can handle fabrics over a meter square and sew very complex patterns and seams and shapes and everything because it's CNC controlled. Brilliant. And again, this is running, I won't say 24/7, but it's running full time on a particular project that we've got at the moment. So which is great. And because of that, we've increased the number of standard sewing machines from one or two in the R&D lab, and we've got now, I think, 7 or 8 machines fully operated with skilled seamstresses. I think I got that one right. So, and again, this is something that, it's sewing often gets overlooked from a manufacturing point of view, but we didn't overlook it. We brought it in-house, and we've now vertically integrated that particular sort of capability into our portfolio.
Yeah, you don't often think about sewing as being sort of a key process that's offered. Actually, most people are thinking, "Wow, CNC machines, plastic injection molding."
Exactly.
But yeah, an interesting one to highlight. Okay, good. Let's move on then. So we're talking a little bit about when customers go on site to the supplier.
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody that wants to come and visit is more than welcome. Now, you can come and visit, just check us out and see what capabilities we have, talk to some of the sort of the team, the core team, get a presentation. That's not a problem. We welcome anybody. If you have a project with us already at the moment, then this is where we see a lot of customers coming over and spending time in the factory. And you're more than welcome. Now, when I say time in the factory, some customers spend months, literally months in the factory. I'm not saying that everybody needs to spend months in the factory, but we've made it comfortable enough that everybody has their own space, that has their own room or a dedicated area that they can sit down and do their work. Now, I'm not expecting you to work on your own project. That's not what I mean. But obviously, you've got your day-to-day activities that you need to continue in your own space, as well as working with our core team, your project manager, the engineers on the project, or anybody else. You have access to everybody virtually all the time. And we make this very, very clear that everybody's more than welcome to spend a lengthy time in the factory, in the facility, no problems, no hassle, which is really good.
Good. Okay.
Some of the questions that we get asked, and this is probably general, okay, not just for us, but this is general, and these are questions that you really should be asking your contract manufacturer as well. Is the first one we often, if I come over, do I have access to the core team? Can I get access to the managers, for example? That's a key question, because a lot of people say, "Oh no, too busy, can't say." "Oh no, you're too busy." Well, in our case, it's yes, we're available. Yeah, yes, everybody's busy. Everybody's busy working on various different projects and in meetings, customer meetings, planning meetings, etc. But everybody should be available to anybody that comes to visit Agilian, at least. And that's the type of question that you should be asking. If you're not working with Agilian and we're looking for somebody else, that's the type of question you really should be asking your supplier or potential supplier: is what access do I get, and can I get access to certain key members within the team itself, including top management. Sometimes you need some sensitive conversations or confidential conversations or strategic business conversations with sort of key managers, and they're not available or not even on site. Some people say, but we're owned by Hong Kongese and he never comes over because he doesn't like us. So, it's, for example, and I had that when I had to go and see a sub-supplier, and said, "Well, no, the director's not here because he's Hong Kongese and he only comes over twice a week, and he's on holiday at the moment." So it was basically very, very difficult to get the information that I required, because the key person that I needed to talk to wasn't there, or very rarely there. And again, it's important to understand that before you actually go. So that's good. Another question, I'm going to rattle through some of these, Adrian, if that's all right. is, can I get access to a physical product? Well, the answer is clear. You should be able to get access to your product. If you're working on a project with a contract manufacturer, it's imperative that you get access to your project, your product, your prototype, your pre-production, your mass production component, whatever the case may be. You really should be able to get that. And this is what we sort of aim to do with respect to anybody visiting Agilian, is make sure that they are welcome and welcome as part of the team. And being part of the team means not necessarily getting your hands dirty, but we need to, we certainly encourage you to work with us and look at and work on, not just in, but on the project itself, including, some of the firefighting that we have to do with respect to, root cause analysis and stuff like this. So super important that you really should get access. Now, when I'm saying access, some places may have restrictions on certain areas that you can get access to. Now, we do have sensitive information from certain projects, obviously, the same as any contract manufacturer. They're going to have confidential products being run. You need to be sensitive of that, clearly. But the contract manufacturer should also be sensitive of other customers being on site and being able to view or not view certain projects. And we take that pretty seriously, clearly. So that's good. Another important question is that if, for example, you are mechanically minded and capable, you may want to get access to the prototype lab or some of the machining equipment, for example. We've just recently expanded our capability in the R&D lab with a small milling machine, very, very small benchtop lathe, for example. And why? Simply because of simple modifications, not for producing products, but for simple modifications to test a theory. If I change this, what's going to happen? If I drill a hole here, what's going to happen? I need to remove that because I think it's interfering with something. Make that happen. Do you get access, or can you get access to this type of machines with your contract manufacturer? Super important that you understand that all your expectations are leveled, with respect to, okay, I know that I can't get access to this, therefore I will need to bring additional information, drawings, or whatever the case may be in advance. Okay. In our case, yes, of course, if you are skilled, you can use under supervision. Clearly, we don't just let anybody use the machines, but we do have skilled people, which is what we prefer, to do the work for you and supervise any modifications that you require from your prototypes onwards. So that's all good. Another area that we're looking at is controlled environments within contract manufacturer. Some products are more sensitive than others and require different environments in order for build or even test. Does your contract manufacturer have a clean room? Does your contract manufacturer have a test lab? Do they have a dust-free room, for example? And these are really, really important aspects to look at and ask the question, because we've got a number of different projects that require all different types of environment. Let's say, I want to say environments, but an environmental consideration while they're being either built, manufactured, or tested. Okay, so, and again, this is a really important question. We get asked that question all of the time, and we don't have a clean room, let's say, but we do have a very tight controlled dust room. We've got the standard assembly room. Assembly, I haven't even touched on. Clearly, as a contract manufacturer, we've got an assembly plant, but I'll leave that for another day. That's all right. So that's all good. And another insight that I just want to share with you is some of the customers that come around where they are given tours of the factory. Now, we're spread over multiple floors. We've got, I want to say, 20,000 square meters, but I don't think that's correct. I think it's more than that of active sort of space that we're utilizing. We've got a lot going on. We've got a lot going on Agilian. I mentioned earlier, the vertical integration plan that Agilian have got. We've got the manufacturing plant. I'm talking about manufacturing. We've got the assembly lines. We've got R&D capabilities. We've got sourcing capabilities. This is all the soft skills that we've got. We've integrated the injection mold tool manufacturing. We've got the injection mold machines. We've got the silicone capabilities now, compression molding and tooling, die cast tooling. We've got the sewing rooms. We've got the SMT. Man, we are on a mission. Let's see. That's how I feel. And this comes across, a lot of customers come around and go, wow, this is more than what I expected. And a lot of the feedback is from a contract manufacturer, they don't expect so much. Okay. What they're expecting is a couple of guys in the office, or a team of people in the office, and some people on the assembly line putting some products together. We go way beyond that. And I haven't even touched on the RSQ labs. And again, that's a separate topic.
That's our in-house reliability and quality testing lab as well. So that's a whole nother topic. But you're right. The scale, it needs to be seen to be believed. If you're listening and you're thinking, well, hang on, Agilian Technology, this is Sofeast's podcast. Yes, the Sofeast Group, and that's part of the group. So if you're not familiar with Agilian, of course, link to our website is going to be in the show notes. And I think you have outlined exactly what's going on. So it's a good chunky one to start October, and we'll call a close to it now. But any other topics that Paul has spoken about, as he mentioned, do get in touch. And as is normal, tune in next week for more from us. Thanks again for listening to this podcast, brought to you by the Sofeast Group. We're on a mission to provide you with everything you need to manufacture effectively in Asia, including inspections, auditing, new product development support, contract manufacturing, 3PL warehousing and fulfillment, and much, much more across Asia's key manufacturing areas. Visit us at sofeast.com, that's SOFEAST.com, to learn more and get help. If you've enjoyed the podcast today, please do rate, review and share, because it will really help others discover us too.